This is no secret, and you won't want to miss it. Joe Rogan isn't exactly flying the flag for woke culture. Over the years, he has made his opinions very clear, attacking the inconsistencies and overreach that accompany it. So when a guest on a show chooses to venture into woke territory, get ready for some unforgettable moments. As usual, Joe keeps it grounded with no-nonsense logic and straight-up facts. But before we get started, don't forget to
You're probably the
subscribe
only one at CNN
and hit
that's
the
glad.
notification bell for more content like this.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. We should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you, too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing... That's a lie that they're conscious of. This is not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Let us establish the scene. It was one of those rare occasions when someone from the so-called lamestream media truly entered Joe's sphere of influence. Naturally, the topic of discussion revolved around the pandemic and the massive push for vaccinations when Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent, made an appearance on the podcast back in 2021. But here's the really shocking part. When Sanjay sat down opposite Joe, he had the ideal opportunity to push back, and let's just say he didn't waste it. A month earlier, Joe had announced he had contracted the virus and was taking ivermectin as prescribed by his doctor. CNN didn't respond well to that announcement, and they started a flurry of stories portraying Joe as some sort of reckless crank.
Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making the
Nobel Prize
in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, mother. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is. This is ivermectin.
You got it with
right
you.
Here. Somebody gave it.
To be clear, there are two forms of ivermectin, one for animals and one for people. This one is amusing. The FDA-approved medication for treating specific parasite illnesses is utilized in the human form, while the animal version is used to deworm horses and cattle. It seems easy enough, but if you're CNN, they twisted the story so that Joe was raiding barns for horse medications. Suddenly, the discussion shifted from whether the drug was effective to something much more serious. Why would a major news network purposefully misrepresent the facts and disparage someone? Joe didn't back down, though, and he persisted until Sanjay acknowledged that they were mistaken.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on the ledger.
Before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before coming on your podcast.
But they did it with such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
They did. I watched.
I watched.
You
watched. No, I don't think there's glee.
They did.
I don't. No one takes.
Joe Rogan says he has COVID, taking livestock drug despite warnings. Yeah.
Jamie had to pull this up.
You want to play it? But my point is, you're working for a news organization. If they're lying about a comedian taking horse medication, what are they telling us about Russia? What are they telling us about Syria? Do you understand that that's why people get concerned about the veracity of the news?
Here's where it gets even funnier. After the episode aired, CNN ran a segment in which they interviewed Sanjay about what it was like to have a lengthy conversation with Joe. They showed a few carefully chosen clips interspersed with the typical criticism, which, predictably, took Joe's words out of context. However, they conveniently omitted the one moment that really mattered, when Joe outright called out CNN's lie. Sanjay even attempted to downplay it later, calling Joe's arguments, though their viewership fell and Joe's podcast soared to become the most popular in the nation and the world. Mental Gymnastics seemed to treat Rogan like a personal enemy from that point on, regularly publishing articles with a not-so-subtle tone of resentment. As intense as that exchange was, it was nothing compared to the fireworks that erupted when Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock clashed on the show.
The influence of Flint and his colleagues on media and culture. And again, we've got the Society for American Archaeology, 5,000 members. Flint is one. Flint's co-author, John Hoops, actually helped to write this letter for the Society of American Archaeology. They're saying that I embolden extreme voices that misrepresent archaeological knowledge in order to spread false historical narratives that are overtly misogynistic, chauvinistic, racist, and anti-Semitic. I mean, you apply those labels to somebody and you're going to get that person hated by a lot of people.
Whole ball.
Yeah,
I did not write that.
No, your co-author, John Hoops, wrote it. We urge Netflix to add disclaimers that the content is unfounded. They want it to be called science fiction. In other words, that's a very clever way of canceling me.
While Graham Hancock has long been a thorn in the side of mainstream archaeology, things really came to a head once Netflix gave him a platform in the show. I remember watching this one live as it released, and wow, it was something else. Hancock presents his theory that before being wiped out by a cataclysm, an advanced civilization shared knowledge with so-called primitive humans during the Ice Age. It's the kind of theory you'd expect to see on the Discovery Channel after midnight, but Hancock went on to primetime archaeologists who were furious and gave him a severe beating. They rejected his ideas outright, and predictably, never even offered him an apology. What truly escalated the situation was Dibble's response immediately after seeing a letter on television. Let's just say it didn't help his cause. To be honest, the fury felt excessive, making you wonder what type of meltdown would occur if Eddie Bravo got his own Netflix deal. Introduction 5. First of all, I want to thank Flint for wearing that hat because, to be honest, I wouldn't have realized he was an archaeologist without it. I'm not here to prove Graham Hancock correct. Jokes aside, though, what does it matter that someone is more famous than you? That's just ego. When Hancock calmly brought up examples of people who were mocked by archaeologists but later proved correct, things really got heated. Flint became visibly agitated, and the atmosphere changed. Neither side left with a clear victory, but that's what made the episode so captivating. It was one of those infrequent exchanges that demonstrated why Joe is such a great interviewer. He doesn't let anyone get away with it, regardless of their stance. Let's continue the discussion in the comments section below. If you liked the video, please remember to share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next.
Go back to that. Why would someone...
Graham, you're so much more of a celebrity than me.
Here's Flint. Netflix. Correct. I'm sorry that I am, Flint. That's not really my problem. Hey, Netflix.
I have this power.
Hey, Netflix, correct your mistake and reclassify Ancient Apocalypse as fantasy. Netflix correct your mistakes. This is you pushing this, Flint. And then the general media fishy
Twitter
Netflix
accounts?
show, Ancient Apocalypse, is the most dangerous show on Netflix. You used the word dangerous repeatedly in your conversation piece.
I think that the way that you refer to archaeology as you say that you're number one enemy of archaeology and things like that, you are promoting people to dislike what we do. We are doing our jobs. No, you started off Ancient Apocalypse by calling us patronizing and arrogant.
Archaeologists see me as public enemy number one.